special town meeting, Monday, November 17th, 2025, to order. Annie, you want to give her?
Sure.
And then
Notice is hereby given that a special town meeting of the electors and citizens qualified to vote in town meetings of the town of Guilford, Connecticut will be held in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 31 Park Street, Guilford, Connecticut, on Monday, November 17th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. to consider and act on the following. Acceptance of 4 conservation easements for Bluffhead subdivision, section 9, pending recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission under Connecticut 8
Somebody's got two devices open.
you gotta shut your volume off.
Yeah, I thought it was off and it turned back on.
450 Bluffview Drive, 105 Blue Hills Drive, 123 Blue Hills Drive, and 147 Blue Hills Drive.
Great. Is there a motion to have a moderator for this event?
I'll give the motion to choose Melanie as moderator.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. That is a non-debatable motion, so. All in favor of saying?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals? Hearing none. All right, Kevin, we're going to turn this over to you. Give us some background here.
Okay. So back in 2009, the Planning and Zoning Commission and Inland Wetlands Commission reviewed and approved conservation easements to be installed 25 feet out from the wetlands at the Bluffview subdivision. This conservation easement affects the property of 450 Bluffview Drive, 105, 123, and 147 Blue Hills Drive. As part of the approval letter from Planning and Zoning, that is that the conservation easements need to be filed before issuance of a building permit, even though it's been 14 plus years or so since they approved this. They are coming in for their building permits, and in order for them to be approved, town ordinance requires them to come to town meeting before we can file them on the land records there. So that's where we stand with this. The map of the subdivision is shown on the screen here, and you'll see the wetlands line has the arrows pointing in towards the wetlands. Conservation easement area is 25 feet off of that, which is this long double dash line wrapping around the wetlands. So it's only a 25-foot buffer area protected by the conservation easement. The internal wetlands area and stuff is all not part of it, but protected under the inland wetlands regulation to the town of Guilford.
Any questions from board members?
Yes, the 4 property owners, have they at this point done their paperwork?
I have 3 approved, signed, and working with a 4th property owner.
So if we decide town votes to accept that 4th one, if for some reason they don't come through with their paperwork, it's just a non-event for us.
Correct. The approval's here and it's correct.
Take it.
Got it. Yep.
Any other questions from board members? Any
No.
questions from the public?
That's
Any
me.
comments?
My share.
What else you got coming?
I just want to stop my share so you're.
Any comments?
Yeah,
Hearing-
Matt, I have one actually a little further into Sue's question. What's the status of that last person? I mean, is it just inadvertence or is there some resistance?
Little bit of resistance on that last one there. That one's a special case because that one got missed when the building permit was issued. That's actually a house that's constructed already. So we're trying to backtrack on that one, so it's a little harder to put the horse back in the barn. It's but that one has the nearest section of wetland or a conservation easement of all of them there. It is on their map, so it just comes down to if they do something in it, becomes a bigger legal issue of what you were or weren't allowed to do. So it becomes a bigger case that would have to be.
So the area in question that we're discussing is all in wetlands anyway. They would need wetlands review to
Just
do anything.
in the wetlands review area.
Wetlands review area. Okay, but my point is they
Yeah.
can't just go and build a shed there without getting some administrative input.
Correct,
Okay, and they're aware of that.
correct, yeah. They had
Okay.
to, they actually kept their house and all their work outside the wetlands review area when they actually did the construction at their original time.
Say,
Yeah.
say that again, please.
They, when they constructed their house, they made sure they kept all their work outside the review area anyways, so they didn't have to go through the permitting process for wetlands. They're aware of the
Okay.
wetlands review area on the property also.
And this imposes a restriction on them regardless of whether they sign off and acknowledge what's happening.
Yeah, the map filed from them at the, after their subdivision approval, has it shown and it's referenced in their deed.
Okay, so it's your recommendation we proceed with this?
Yes, and proceed, as Matt indicated there, we're approving all these to be filed when we do get the document signed, is we're not forcing anybody to be filed if we don't have their signatures.
Wait, say that again?
We're filing the ones that we have, the 3 that we received.
Yeah,
And the other ones, we're gonna keep following up on the person there, but we're gonna keep on whatever pressure I talk with, council, what we can do on that one. To, get a signed document. And maybe they can't get another permit in the future until they file the document with us, but I have to check with Peter what we're allowed to do at this point, since it said prior to issuance of a building permit.
okay, but the point, and you've basically said it and you reset it right there. There's a stopgap and a check and balance in place with regard to anything happening concerning this area that we're discussing here.
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You good, Lou?
Yeah, thank you. So, sorry to run that down, but I appreciate that, Kevin.
Yep.
All right, anything further? All right, I'll entertain a motion to, approve.
I'll make the motion.
And a second,
I'll second.
anybody from the public could do that as well. So, you want to get on the record? We have a second, so as to the, acceptance of the 4 conservation easements, Bluffhead subdivision, section 9, pending recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission under Connecticut General Statutes 8-24 in accordance with Town Charter 7.7. All those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
You guys can vote.
Town meetings.
Town
you
meeting.
know.
That's on the record. That motion carries. Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you for that.
The 824 request has been sent to P and Z or,
I have not sent it. I do not know, but we'll check with staff.
okay.
We'll make sure that happens. Okay, Anna, thank you very much. All
Thanks.
right, let's call the regularly scheduled Selectmen meeting, for 17th of November to order. First order of business, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda, presentation. Sustainable Guilford, you okay over there, Kev?
Oh, yeah.
Don't break your computer.
That's the mouse.
Presentation by Sustainable Guilford Task Force on next steps on Friday afternoon. I had a conversation with the chair and vice chair, and they are not prepared to commit today. They want to change the methodology here. This is related to the continued efforts of that task force. Maybe changing some directions on how they do it. One of the concerns they have is the onerous nature of some of the requirements on the certification of statewide Connecticut sustainability thing, and whether or not we're chasing points or we're actually doing work and doing something meaningful. So,
Teaching to the test?
what's that?
We
teaching
don't want
to
to
the
just be
test.
teaching to the test.
Absolutely.
It's a good
That's exactly what it is.
Good.
Thank you,
And
Matt.
the methodology that I've agreed to with them is we're going to work through the department heads first and get greater engagement from the department heads in terms of looking for ways for us to do things in a more sustainable fashion and integrate those into our day-to-day operations. So we're going to start that way and then bring it back to this work for what the new plan is. Okay. All right. Item 3, presentation by the Shumpershaw Statute Committee. Come on up, whoever's. There's room for everybody.
I'll leave room for everyone. Okay, we'll come up. Thank you.
Okay, Sharon, you're next. Emily, and then Courtney. Courtney. Great.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Who's start?
I'll start it off. How's that?
That sounds pretty good to me, Sam.
Morning, my name is Jim Powers. I'm the president of the 501c3 Statute Committee. We thank you for the opportunity to speak with you about this remarkable woman, leader, who was historic, and her leader as a historical, economic, educational, moral reasons why we and our supporters feel that honoring Shumpushuck is important to our community and beyond. We are here to ask you for your support through an endorsement of the project and to help us choose an appropriate location for her statue on or near the green, the heart and soul of our community. We each have a brief statement to share and a portfolio for each of you that includes our biographies, Shumpushuck's biography, letters and expressions of support for a statue honoring not just Shumpushuck, but also her people who called Guilford home for 14,000 years. These letters include support from Guilford Town historian Joel Helander and State Senator Christine Cohen and Representative Moria Rader. Once a location has been chosen for the Shumpushuck statue, and through your help and guidance, we can begin to solicit proposals from sculptors. As a 501c3, we intend to raise the funds needed privately to create and place your statue without any financial burden on the town government. I'd like to begin by speaking about who Shumpushuck was. At the time of the arrival of the English colonists to the shoreline of Connecticut in the 1630s, Shumpushuck was sachem or chief of the Monongatuk band of the Quinnipiac here in Guilford. Quinnipiac lands extended from West Haven to Clinton and north to Cheshire and Wallingford, an area of over 300 square miles. Shumpushuck was the sister of the Quinnipiac Grand Sachem Morgan, whose principal village was Myunkatuk, which is now East Haven and New Haven. She was a niece of Quissaquanch, sachem of the Totucket band, which is now Brantford. And thus Shumpushuck was a member of an elite family with a tradition of leadership. Following the end of the Pequot War in 1638, Shumpushuck played a leading role in negotiating with the English Puritans when they sailed into New Haven Harbor, speaking on behalf of her people that in return for sharing the land around the harbor, which was their cultural tradition, the colonists would provide trade goods and protect Quinnipiac from their enemies, specifically the Mohawk and the Pequot. In the English tradition, the agreement was signed by Mawagin and his counselors, including Shumpushuck, whose mark was a pipe, a symbol of peace and of spiritual authority. When a second group of colonists arrived in 1639, Shumpushuck negotiated with their leader, Reverend Henry Whitfield, to allow them to settle in Monongatuk, in essence, turning over what became the southern section of Guilford, centered around what is now the Green, and moving her people across the Cudahoe or East River to what became Madison. Dr. Bracken will detail more about her role here in Guilford. What we know of Shumpushuck is that as a member of a family with a tradition of leadership, her role was to advocate for and protect her people during an incredibly difficult and culturally devastating time. Throughout her life, first as the sachem of Monongatuk and later in Myunkatuk and Totucket, she negotiated with the English leadership as an equal and not as a subordinate on a wide range of issues and agreements. Following her death sometime prior to 1683, her role in New Haven was assumed by her daughter Shambisqua, who became sachem, and in Monunkatuck by Nassau, who became her son Nassau, who became sachem. It is interesting to note that the English referred to her as the squaw sachem instead of her name, but also as a sunk squaw, which in Algonquin means elevated woman. At a time when the English women had no rights and were considered the property of their husbands or their fathers, acceptance of as an equal by the Puritans acknowledged her importance as a leader. What did she look like? We really do not know, but Indigenous people were at that time taller and much more physically fit than the English. And we can imagine her to have a rather regal bearing. At the time of the English arrival, she was probably in her mid-20s to early 30s. I just want to add one more thing that is so incredible about this woman as a leader. In 1633 and 1634, a smallpox epidemic broke out in Connecticut that decimated the native populations. It's estimated that each group in Connecticut lost anywhere from 50% to 90% of their people. We now know, based on statistical evaluations, that the Quinnipiac themselves lost 80% of their people in 2 years. When Henry Whitfield came to Guilford, there were only 33 people left here, including Shambisha. I find it remarkable that this woman was able to navigate such a catastrophic disaster, especially after witnessing the English decimation of the Pequots in Mystic during the Pequot War, where they massacred between 400 and 700 people. She realized times were changing and strong leadership was necessary in order to preserve her people and their way of life, and that's what she dedicated her life to. She's certainly more than just a symbol for her people, though. I think she's a symbol of the resilience of Indigenous people in the state to this day. So I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Michael Bracken, who can tell you a little bit more.
So, good morning. Good morning. Go back to November 1638, not 938. And the Davenport and Eaton have arrived in the harbor in New Haven. Monmaguen, who is the chief sachem for the Quinnipiac, is telling the English that he owns land from basically Milford to Hammonasset. And his sister, Champashu, interrupts. We know this from the documents that exist. She interrupts him and says, no, I'm responsible for the land in Guildford. I'll use model names. I'm responsible for that. So when Monmaguen does his deal with the English, Guildford is left out of it. And it's still there for the next group of settlers. And the next group of settlers in June of 39, of course, Whitfield. And so that's the first thing that she directly helps the foundation of Guildford. So the theme of what I'm talking about is where Whitfield settled, that would become Guildford, just because of using an English town name. In June of 39, when Whitfield arrives, the first Whitfield people, they go down to what we call Milford, because some of Davenport's people have already actually gone down there. And they look at Milford, it's got a nice harbor, they like Milford. Go back to New Haven. Davenport wants them to settle in New Haven. Whitfield doesn't want to do that for religious reasons. We won't go into that. And so Champashu said, well, I've got land. And she takes them on the Indian, they travel on the Indian trails, because they've been there for thousands of years. And they go across to Bramford. The trail's known. And then they go through what we now call Westwoods. And Whitfield's, you must have been thinking, oh my God, I've got to clear these trees, I've got to plant. So they go through what actually is the blue rectangle trail, somewhere in that area, down into Dunk Rock. They'll cross West River about where Route 1 does, because that was the first fordable place. And they must be amazed because the whole place has been cleared. Been cleared for many thousands of years, from the West River to East Creek. Sorry, it doesn't reach your house. East Creek, which you know where that is, right? No, East River, East River. So that's what's being cleared. And for Whitfield, it's a done deal. So then the next thing, so that's the second thing. She said she actually brings them here. And this building is actually right dead center in the middle of what was called the Great Plain, this cleared area. West River to here, then to East Creek. So the third thing she does, then they sit down and we get the Guildford map, famous Guildford map, which is actually a national treasure. Because the Guildford map wasn't drawn by Whitfield and the English. They'd only been here 6 weeks. This is the one with the straight lines, right? This one.
Yeah, it's on display down there.
The coast, we all know this one. The coastline, I can't read those, but and then the rivers are all at right angles. Falklands Islands on here, the Single Islands are on here. That map is drawn by Champichet, the lines. And then, but the writing is all Whitfield. So she obviously is saying, okay, this river is what we call Kutawa, East River. Whitfield writes it down. That's this river we call Mononkatuk River, Southwest River. Whitfield writes it down, and he writes it all down. That's what we call Stony Creek. So she, and this is important because Champichet is telling Whitfield what she's going to give us treaty with, have a treaty with. It's not the other way around. If you read Ruggles and Steiner and all, you think it's the other way around. Whitfield's saying we'll take it. No, Champichet, this is Champichet's gig, as we say, and she's in control. So, and if you look at the back of this map, which is the Champichet is right at the very top, and Skunk Squaw, as Jim said, elevated woman. So she's really in charge of this. So that's August 39. In September 39, they actually go back in New Haven in Newman's Barn, which is where Silliman College is now, and they sign the treaty. The treaty is all in Whitfield's language. The only Native American to put a mark on this is Champichet. So again, showing that she is in absolute control of this negotiation. How do we know this map is an Algonquian map? Because of some other maps. This is a map of the Pequots in further down the coast in Rhode Island. It's got the same straight line for the coastline, the same rivers at right angles. And it's not this is how the English drew map. This is 1610, John Speed. This is where my 16th grandfather was born in 1470. But there's not a straight line on this map. So that's why I said the Guildford map is a national treasure. There are very few Algonquian maps, and one is ours. So that's four things she's done. She's marked the treaty. And then the fifth one is actually her son, Northsock, who Jim mentioned. And in 1686, he signs another deed with the settlers here for North Guildford. So that's the fifth sort of direct influence of Champichet on getting Guildford where it is, where it belongs. Thank you.
I have one question. If maps were so rare, among the indigenous people, how did this come to be one? Was it because she was defining her territory?
She was defining the territory that was
That she had
between
control over?
Tucket, which is, yeah, she was defining where she was particular, so. Interesting in creating the Quinnipiac Dawnland Museum. When we were going to make a map of the territory that the Quinnipiac were residing in, our indigenous advisor said, no. You know, being a historian, I wanted to make a map of Connecticut, you know, but they said, no, we define where we live by geographic features. So they helped us to create a map of Connecticut that basically forms a triangle between the Connecticut River, the Housatonic River, Long Island Sound, and the Tungus or Farmington River. And that's why we display, you know, where they felt they lived at that time. So it's interesting that this is a takeoff, which is, you know, I just think that her thinking was just incredibly progressive when it comes to it.
That's excellent. And for anyone who hasn't been to the museum, the Dawnland Museum, I recommend you go. I've been.
So do I.
I've been there a couple of times and it's just absolutely amazing. So. Cheryl,
Okay, my name is Cheryl Buckley. Just a little kind of a different view of this whole thing. Guilford's a town distinguished by its rich heritage. One that was once values history, tradition, and community. Yet, as we reflect upon that history, we must acknowledge the contributions of women have too long been overlooked or left unrecognized. Nationally, this imbalance is striking. Only 6 to 10% of statues in the United States commemorate women. Indeed, on the green of Guilford, only 4 names on the memorials are women. Such a disparity does not reflect the true story of our nation, nor of our town. It's incumbent upon us to address this omission and ensure that our public spaces honor the full measure of those who shaped our past. Here in Guilford, Champashaw stands as a figure of resilience and leadership. As a Quinnipiac woman, she bore witness to a period of profound change and upheaval, embroidering both the struggles and the enduring strength of her people. Her story represents not only the story of the Quinnipiac, but the deeper narrative of Guilford itself, a history that cannot be fully told without her presence. By honoring Champashaw with a statue on or near the green, we would not only pay tribute to her legacy, but affirm Guilford's commitment to a more accurate and inclusive historical record. Such a memorial would stand as a permanent reminder that women, and particularly Indigenous women, had an important role in the foundation and origin of our community. I urge you to recognize the importance of this moment in Guilford history. Let us take the opportunity to both restore our past and inspire future generations with a more complete and truthful account of who we are. Thank you.
Ellen?
I'm Ellen Crean, and you've heard from my colleagues about the value of the statue of Champashaw to complete the history of the Menentuck people here in what is known as Guilford, thanks to the efforts of the Sachem Champashaw. You've heard how the statue will serve to inspire the young women of our community and visually support the educational curriculum of our town with classes visiting the statue location. But there is another value beyond these. That is the commerce the statue of Champashaw will bring to Guilford, especially if she is standing in welcome on or near the Guilford Green where our town was founded, thanks to Champashaw's peaceful welcome of the English Puritans. This statue project has already generated publicity in the Guilford Courier, the Shoreline Times, and the New Haven Register. As the statue project location is selected and its funding and creation proceed, I will be contacting my former colleague at the New York Times, where I was high school marketing manager, will be contacting state and national media outlets, so Guilford's own Champashu will become as well known as Pocahontas and Sacagawea. Just think how powerful this national publicity will serve to increase tourism to Guilford, to see this statue of such a vibrant, powerful Indigenous female, Champashu. Tourists will come to Guilford Center to see the statue of Champashu and read the plaque stating her history. These new tourists will be visiting our local restaurants to eat meals and shop at businesses. The area we now know as the Guilford Town Green was where the Puritan settlers met with Champashu and others of the Menenketuk tribe to trade goods and feast together. So Champashu's statue will lead to a restoration of the original use of this meeting place. The Town of Guilford Tourism website and the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce will have photographs of this statue of Champashu to feature in their communications. State and local historical societies will include this statue of Champashu on their websites and publications. The Champashu statue will help increase the commercial income for Guilford. Thanks to a presentation from SCORE, we have identified more than 45 sources of nonprofit funding to design, create, and maintain the statue. But grant applications require a location, a site for the statue of Champashu. Our 501c3 committee seeks your help in establishing a site for the statue of the Sachem Champashu. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning, my name is Kevin Brown. I've been a resident of Guilford, 128 Woodland Road. You know where you have to say that.
After this.
But that, for about 10 years, that's about a tenth of the time though, that my ancestors have lived here, those 14,000 years that Jim talked about. Mohiques, Nutiwas, Swampsuck, Musquack. In my Mohegan language, I'm called Red Eagle. I'm a 13th generation descendant of Uncas. As you know, deeded the land next door that was Guilford, I was Madison, East Guilford, on the other side, East Guilford. So he was the grand sachem of the tribe during the first contact with European settlers in the 1600s, and of course that included Reverend Whitfield. So I have a very deep and personal connection to this land and this conversation. This step. When I moved to Guilford in 2014, I honestly didn't know a lot about the history that exists here until I went to get my veteran tax abatement downstairs at the tax assessor's office, and I saw my 13th great grandfather's mark on a piece of paper on the wall right outside the tax assessor's office. And it sent me on a bit of a chase, and I started to read more. And I read Joel Helander's book, and I realized very quickly that I just have there's a reason land here. I live off the East River Preserve, Podunk Road. Land that my 13th great grandfather clearly, obviously. So the connection is deep, and I know that I'm home here in this land. It deepened more when I read more about a battle that I did know about at Bloody Cove, when Uncas fought down on Sachem's Head, and it sent my wife, who's Passamaquoddy, from Maine. It sent my wife and I on a bit of a rat hole, and we ended up in the Guilford Library for an entire Saturday reading about our heritage here, my heritage here. And then we spent all of Sunday looking for this oak tree where the skull was lodged, realizing we could actually find a tree, but we just had this desire to find it. And oddly, as maybe everybody in this room knows, so you might know, we stumbled across the created figure at Falcon Drive. So my connection runs deep, and this really matters. But my search for markers of my Indigenous heritage in this town isn't how it should have to be. We shouldn't have to search to find this deep heritage. It should be prominent and honored, and that's really why all of us are here. There are others that are in fact memorialized whose existence on this land in this town of Guilford is a tenth of the time that our ancestors lived here. And instead I had to go find a make-believe image down on Falcon Drive to help me connect with my ancestry, my heritage here. And that make-believe mock-up pointed to the history of a great man, a sachem, Uncas, from my tribe. What we're talking about here is a great woman, a sachem of this tribe, and the prominence that's required to remember, respect, reconcile, and then, as was said earlier, restore her back to this land that she willingly cooperated and gave to the settlers of Guilford. I just think it's the right thing to do. In my name, Masquak, M-A-S-Q-A-Q, the core of that word, which is the Algonquin word for red, is the S-Q-A part, which is squaw. And the reason for that is because women are believed to be the lifeblood, what is red. So there's a core connection to that. Champashaw, as a sunk squaw, gave life. Guilford, she gave life to Guilford. She is this town that we're sitting in here in Guilford. And I just think it's the right thing to do to honor it in the right way. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Kip.
Absolutely. I hope. Good morning. My name is Courtney Cuccinata. I need to do double glasses these days. I am of Nipmuc and European descent. My tribe lives in southern Massachusetts. We originally inhabited much of central Massachusetts, northwest Connecticut, and northeast Rhode Island. And now we have a reservation that's about 3 acres. I come before you today to ask that our Indigenous relative Champasha, the great sachem of present-day Guilford, Connecticut, be recognized and remembered in a way that honors the incredible, strong, intelligent, capable, and brave leader that she was. I come before you as a woman who is invited to speak on behalf of our Indigenous relatives, and as a woman who recognizes that we are all Indigenous to someplace. We all have Indigenous ancestry, and when any of our ancestors lived a noble, just, and courageous life, we owe it to that individual to tell their story. Our Indigenous history has always been shared through oral tradition. Storytelling has been at the center of our teachings and learning. It has been the way we pass down knowledge from one generation to the next. It has been the thread that has woven the past into the present and the present into the future. It is what has carried the lessons and planted the seeds of remembering the right way of living for our people. It is our reminder to live with respect for all life and to practice reciprocity as a way of living. Storytelling was and is the lifeblood of our survival. It is the medicine that helps us to remember the original instructions and to know our place in the web of life. The proposed statue of Champasha has the potential to carry her story from the past into the present and future. If we understand from where we came and how we got here, then we might understand what we need to mend the healing fabric of living in reciprocity and with respect for all of our relations. This understanding is fundamental to living in a world that is abundant, healthy, and thriving. This remembering might be a thread that helps us to survive as a species that has Indigenous roots all around this world. A species who I believe has lost our way for far too long. Our future, our survival, and our thriving is dependent on our remembering and our storytelling. How can we move forward and bring the important teachings back to life? This statue could be a vital piece to this remembering. It is my hope that a statue of Champasha is created and erected in the center of her homeland, in a place that is as honorable to her spirit as her life was to her people. My hope is that the people of Guilford welcome her home with open arms. For without her, present-day Guilford would not exist. Without her, her people wouldn't have survived for so long. May we do right by Champasha and all of our Indigenous relatives by recognizing them, their lives, and their rightful place on their sacred soil. Thank you.
Much.
So, now that you've heard a bit from us, and hopefully you'll have time to look at the portfolio that we put together, that is really an incredible document in terms of support for this project from a wide range of different types of people and organizations. But the important thing that we would like from you folks is to be able to endorse this project so we can move forward. And in that process of endorsing, then help us to decide where this statue should go. We're adamant that we feel it has to be somewhere either on the green or near the green. There are a lot of very interesting locations that we would be more than happy to share with you. We don't want to put pressure on you today to obviously do so, but I think it would be an important thing for us to move forward. We cannot begin to talk to sculptors until we have a location. I mean, otherwise, they're not going to bother. It's also difficult for us to raise money, which we feel will have really have a lot of problems with until we have a location. And so it's sort of a catch-22 in regard to this. And so that's why we're appealing to you folks. And like I said, we'd be more than happy to work with you to help us find a suitable location here.
Jim, thank you very much for that summary.
Yeah.
I think most of you in this room know that I've been supportive of this effort. It's a process though.
Right.
And location is, as you just mentioned, is the most important piece of this.
Yeah.
I, for one, completely support the project to honor this amazing woman who stood out in her time and should be recognized for what she meant to this community. So
Thank you.
and I'd be surprised if the other members of the board of selectmen didn't feel similarly. And I can certainly let them weigh in on it. So I'm prepared. I've been thinking about this because this is not the first time I've met with all of you.
We've been chasing you.
That's right. And I wasn't a hard catch. That's
No,
how I
I'm not.
So a couple of things that come to mind. One, I think as we so often don't do appropriately, we need to build widespread community consensus for something like this. Can't be 12 people sitting around a room deciding.
And here
Something.
you'll find all the organizations that have supported this project.
The organizations are one thing. It's general population consensus that this is something to do, right? And that you've been in the publishing business. That's a campaign, right? So if the Board of Selectmen's affirmation that we want this to happen, we're going to work to make this happen, that becomes part of the centerpiece of the conversation from my perspective. And then it is literally a campaign effort. We've just come out for campaigns, and I don't want to do another campaign. But this is a different kind of campaign.
We can help you.
Yes. Well, I had a lot of help too, and Sue and I both went through this.
It is building, man. Jim and I have given lectures, several hundred people in Guildford and Madison. And I think it's fair to say, in my experience, there's uniform support for this.
Right.
It's there. You just have to sort of tap into it.
You're right.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be speaking to the annual meeting of the Guilford Keaton Society Wednesday night about Shop Shop.
I think we need to talk to Rotary, we need to talk to.
Yeah, talk to
those
Rotary's done.
organizations. What have you done in terms of working with the school district, you being a retired 40 plus year history teacher here?
We haven't really worked with the school district up to this point, simply because we want to make sure we're sort of, we have things better set. We do envision, we love to even talk about the whole idea of having her in a place where kids can gather around, the classes can gather around. We've talked about, what we would envision the statue might be like, and the indigenous plantings around it. So it's not just talking about her and her history and her role model as a role model, but also about the way indigenous people live. So I think when the time comes, I'm hoping that Paul Freeman and the school system will be ready to go. At the Quinnipiac Dawnland Museum, we already do entertain schools, groups from other towns. And up to this point, nothing from Guilford. But we haven't really reached out to them either.
Okay. I'll have a conversation with Dr. Freeman myself.
Okay.
On that, because that's one of the easiest ways to get stuff into this community. If you do a lesson with kids, they bring it home. You talk to their parents about it.
I'm ready.
You know how that works. So I think we need to consider that to them. So the widespread consensus, I think, is really important.
I'd like to mention one other thing too. I'm a musician and I thought we should have a song about Champashu. So I contacted Mark Gom and he connected us with a composer. And I've been talking with her about the kind of song it could be. And we would like very much for the music department at Guilford High School and the middle schools, and maybe even the elementary schools, to learn this song that is going to be composed. So as soon as we have a site, we're going to march forward with singing about Champashu.
Could I mention also, we have an advisory council.
Okay.
Which has artists on board, historians, some more indigenous folks. And we obviously are working with them on all aspects of what we do to become culturally correct.
Comments from board members?
Yes, very appreciative that you brought this story to life, and very important. I couldn't be more strongly in support of what you're doing. And I'll just go a little more out on a limb and say that personally, I think on or near the green is essential, and I hope that we get there. And I just want to add, I don't know if you remember, when we first took office about 8 years ago, somebody came before us and complained about some of the artifacts that we had in town hall that talk about the transaction. And the concept was that they were evidence that somehow the indigenous people were kind of bulldozed over, taken advantage of. And it really bothered me because I felt that it's completely dismissed the leadership of the people who were here and the decision that they made as intelligent, capable, strong people. They made their own decision. So that always bothered me. And I'm glad that we're talking about a really important, it's a lesson for today, a really important leader who cared about her people and made, I'm sure, hard decisions that were right for them. The fact that she was a woman, I think is pretty cool, but it's not, I don't think it's the most important part of the story at all. So couldn't be more strongly in support of what you're doing, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Lou, Sandy?
Sandy, you want to go first?
You're muted,
You're muted,
Sandy.
Sandy. Oops.
The most frequently spoken words in the
It's the phrase of the decade.
Yeah.
You're still muted, Sandy. All right, Lou, why don't you go ahead while
Yeah.
Sandy's trying to figure it out?
So I'm going to
She was
echo
signaling that.
echo some of what has already been said. This was a very impressive presentation. I very much appreciate the significance of this. I was able to hear Dr. Bracken's presentation Sunday morning as well. So this is now a little more familiar to me. I had two questions for the group, though. Who mentioned that there's 4 women on the green? Who and where mentioned on plaques? Who and where are those? I'm just, first of all, I'm a little surprised it's that small.
World War plaque. And the First World War plaque is for people who not who died, who served.
Served.
And so
And that's it.
I
That's the
suspect they
extent.
were nurses.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And for the most part, other than the Civil War statue in the middle, what we have on the green are plaques and memorials to various conflicts we've had over the decades and centuries. Yeah. It's
That's
kind of
true.
just
Yeah.
a rhetorical question.
No, that's true.
I would be interested, and maybe it's too long of a list and it's too soon to sort of spit out, but when everyone keeps saying on or near the green, I'm sort of interested in the near locations, what near means to this group.
One of the locations that we've been considering and would like is in front of the library. There is enough room there to actually place a statue. Our initial presentation to the library board was that they were concerned about the impact of a statue would have on their tent for their book sale. We have since sort of resurveyed the area and realized that there would be room despite that limitation. And one of the things that makes that an attractive site is the educational component of people being able to go to the history room and learn more about Champashu. One of the things in the portfolio we have is Tracy Tomaselli in the history room made an extensive bibliography of index of all the different sources associated with indigenous people here in Connecticut, in Guilford, not just Guilford itself. And then the other site that we absolutely are interested in would be right in front of the town hall here. Where recently the trees came down and the new brickwork is sort of there. That would be also a tremendous spot, we feel. So those are probably the three top spots that we would like assistance with you folks to determine, because it's up to you to determine where these would go.
Good.
So
Oh,
Oh, he's gone.
looks like Lou, oh, there you go, back. Now you're muted, Lou.
there we go. How about that?
There we go.
Technology, it's a beautiful thing. Given the association and really collaboration as you've described it, and I had some vague understanding of this, and again, it's really wonderful the work that's gone into this. But the collaboration with Henry Whitfield, why not down near that state park? That would seem a natural spot.
That because it's a state property, we would have to go through that entire process, which would probably have us maybe finish in 10 years. However, the statue of Henry Whitfield is there, and somehow it just doesn't seem appropriate that that she should stand on the ground that he actually ended up having his house built on. It just doesn't feel like it's the right place to go. And every indigenous person that we've talked to about the statue location has said, no, that's the wrong place. Spiritually and culturally.
Is there some, okay, I mean, and I will go and look at our historians' work and try and get under, but I'm fascinated at that answer. Is there some I mean, this was an incredibly positive presentation that I had the sense was expressing the collaboration between these two parties.
We do have a wonderful endorsement letter from Michelle Parrish, the curator down there, and she is in complete and total support of this project. She wants to see it happen. She never at any point suggested that would be that her site would be the appropriate place. Understanding the dynamic that took place between the Puritan leaders and the Quinnipiac in general, so.
I'm also struck by the comment Lou made. Heard was the positive interaction that Chalmers had with those that came here, and it sounded more collegial. But if that's not the case, that's kind of a surprise to me.
Well, no, it's not that it's a negative situation. As a matter of fact, if anything else, out of all the early English settlements, the colonists who came, the Guilford settlers were in general much more cooperative and respectful of the Quinnipiac people in general than anyone else. As a matter of fact, there was an incident where an Englishman, colonist here, killed a Quinnipiac boy while he and his father were fishing, and the Quinnipiac man was then arrested. He stood trial in Hartford at the General Court for murder. And the people of Guilford rallied around him to get him acquitted. So there, if anything, I think Henry Whitfield and Champashut, I'm sure, respected each other and got along fine. It's just that, from the indigenous, I don't know, maybe you folks can speak on this issue.
Because I don't want to upset the tone that.
Yeah.
There's a hard reality here, and I can't remember exactly what it was that you said, Susan, but you have to consider, understand, and recognize that there was enormous leverage, a difference in leverage here. I think that wherever that was 8 years ago, I was scratching my head worrying it was me. It was probably here to tell you that, look, Guilford, I don't know, what's the grand list of Guilford today?
It's significant.
Yes, that'll work. significant.
$4 billion or something.
Yeah. I'm sure these two historians can correct me where I go awry here, but you know, it was bartered. It's right downstairs on a covenant that I saw on the wall down there, bartered for 6 coats, 8 tea kettles, 2 hose, and some wool.
Mhm.
So it was a deal, and it was collegial, and it was mutually supportive, but there was a big difference in leverage. And now it's got a $4 billion grand list, and we just want to put a statue on the grave.
There was also different in perception. The English wanted a sale. Because that's what you did in England, you actually bought land.
Right.
From the Quinnipiac point of view,
No one owns
No one owns the land.
so you couldn't sell it.
Mhm.
She was responsible for letting people what happened on the
Control.
land and all of that.
Control.
Control it, but she
But
couldn't
not
sell it.
ownership.
Yeah, that concept didn't even occur.
Registered.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be disrespectful, even if their relationship was respectful. And they were making deals per se. That I think one of the most simplistic things to say is, I'm sure it was very difficult for her to make the deals that she was making. She was smart, she was trying to save her people. And it seems as though she was a peaceful person. She was looking for a peaceful way to move forward. But to ask that, I mean, this is a memorial. I mean, it's not a tomb, it's not a grave site, but I think we need to perceive it that way. This is a respectful honoring of a human being who, this town would not exist if it were not for her. And so I think to just pause and think about, where would she want to be remembered? Where would she want to be remembered? This is a respectful project that we're trying to do.
Sandy?
I just want to say thank you for all this information this morning. I did hear Jim speak at Rotary, but this has gone into much deeper levels of background and explanation. I just had one little anecdote to add. I'm in total agreement with what everybody's been saying so far, except I'm not necessarily in agreement about the location, but I'm in agreement about that we're going to do it. I came to a work here in Guilford in 1977, and I believe within the first week, I heard the name Champashu, and it stuck with me because I really didn't know much about anything about Guilford, and but I remember hearing about Champashu, so it does resonate, with the people that lived here. That just out of the blue, somebody would tell me about that in the first week of me ever coming into the town. So I don't want to take up any more time. I don't really have anything to add except to say that it's been very elucidating and interesting, and I'm glad you all came, and I think you put a lot of time and effort into this presentation, and thank you.
Okay, Sandy, thank you. All right, I think we're at a point where we should probably wrap it up.
Yep.
And what I'm going to commit to you is we're going to pull together some kind of subcommittee to explore
Okay.
the various opportunities in terms of the town-owned properties, but also private property owners around the green as well. This does not necessarily have to be limited to town-owned land. And quite honestly, one of the things we're about to do is we're going to try to create some green space in front of town hall. All that brick is not very welcoming and so forth. So as part of our project to renovate the sidewalks and get rid of our tripping hazards, we're looking possibly to create some green space. And we also have the Lathrop House is now, it's always been
Oh, yes.
ostensibly under the control of the town, but is now being utilized for town offices. It's considered Town Hall North, which would not be a bad place for that statue to reside as well. And again, I'm going to go way over my skis. I had some conversations that not official, but somebody said, have you talked to the Congregational Church about it, given that location and the land they have there, which is far more significant than what you have at the library, the Lathrop House, or in front here for people to gather. That's why I was one of those folks who originally said, when Jim and I were talking, Whitfield House. Oh, there are already buses of kids going to that location again, on a regular basis. It's part of educational curriculum around the state. So, and also just the ability to accommodate these larger groups that you're saying we should probably be trying to attract. I think we discounted, we didn't completely discount it, but the little triangle of land on which the Guilford Covenant sits, which talks about why this community was founded and what the beliefs were. And there are some really powerful words on that, which are probably not inconsistent with the indigenous peoples' belief in what they did for their community, take care of each other, look out for each other, those kinds of things. So I originally thought that might be a pretty good location, but I'm countering my most recent comments that that's not a place where a lot of people can gather. So it doesn't work.
Not just, we thought about the private places and public, but we're worried about future taking care and maintenance, because on private, you never know what's going to happen. That gets in front of the bank and gets taken over. And as part of our fundraising, we're trying to raise money for an endowment that will actually maintain the statue. And it's that doesn't depend on town money, but we would like it to be on town property. Because then it represents the whole town. If you're next to a church, I was at the Congy Church yesterday, actually giving a talk. But we think it shouldn't be, you get too close to being associated with a church, and then you've got 5 other churches that now feel a little bit excluded.
I don't know, this could be a bidding war. No, just.
So we're quite strong there. I'm thinking this should be on town property.
Right, and I think I feel safe in saying this. Throughout the country, we're seeing Civil War statutes going back up because administrations in parts of this country are changing and are reflecting sentiments that would be wholly inconsistent with what we stand for. And I don't think, quite honestly, I don't envision that we would lose the kind of insight and with leadership that would suggest at some point that was a bad decision. Right? Because just because it's on town-owned land doesn't mean it is guaranteed in perpetuity.
No, but it's fits.
There may be different administrations sitting in these chairs or something nicer than this, but at some point, but yes, I understand the concern about the price. Yeah, if the endowment and that the endowment is protected, maintenance, I think could be. That's why I have lawyers. We have lawyers to put those deals together to ensure that the stays there. So I will probably be asking one or more of my colleagues to be part of a subcommittee group here. I'd love to have somebody from your team participate in that. Bring some town staff members in as well, and then maybe another community leader or two. I don't want to overburden this. I think we can pretty easily list out the town properties and the pros and cons of that. But yeah, my commitment, we're going to start on this. I do have a question though. What is the scale? What is the anticipated scale of such?
We envision it to be life size. We also want her to be accessible, so that people can relate to her as a woman, but also as a leader and as a business person. There are examples, a few examples here and there of the type of statue we're thinking bronze. And also we are also hoping to have, I forget what the little pedestal that the statue is on. We'd like that to be Stony Creek granite.
That makes sense.
But the whole idea is that we want her to be a gathering place and have a sense of being accessibility to her. How she will appear, we're going to work with hopefully with Indigenous people to make sure that she is represented as a woman in the 1630s and not as some idealized Hollywood idea. Okay, which is really important. So that's it. And we're hoping for bronze. We think bronze would be the most appropriate.
It was good. We touched on something earlier. He said that we don't necessarily have clear images of her likeness, what she, et cetera. Right? In what I at about 10 after 8 this morning, someone called the office and said, "Did you see my email? Did you see my email?" It was Catherine Adams, who's chair of the Guilford Human Rights Commission, and she's expressing some concerns. And let me just read these briefly. I haven't even had a chance to look at them. Is this sympathetic and supportive? But there was a couple of questions raised. Where is it? A reasonable question to pose would be whether it's appropriate to use a person's likeness if a culture doesn't typically use likenesses of individuals. But I think we've just answered that question. And then my assumptions here is not going to be anything that's stereotypically negative or, use that mascot, that right, which has since been changed. But so I'll share this with you. You can get it to everybody. I think it was thoughtful. It wasn't designed to put an impediment in place here. So I'll get that out to you.
Okay, I think I know the person on the committee, that commission generated.
We've had that comment before.
Okay. It's the same person.
There are, Yale has a statue of Nathan Hale. Nobody knows what he looked like. That was a statue. Nobody knows what the Virgin Mary looked like. There's millions of statues of her. So this concept of stereotype, it's an art. It's always an artist representation, a sculptor representation. Unfortunately, Michelangelo didn't about those issues.
No.
It's so much more important to capture the spirit, capture the features.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
That's what good artists can do. Right?
Yeah.
Want art. All right. Well, thank you all for your passion and the presentation and the conversation. We'll start moving this forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing.
First, my friend.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well done.
Very nice.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You too.
All right, can we move on to public forum? Anyone wishing to address the board in public forum on anything on the agenda? Hearing none, let's move to minutes, approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 3rd, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Make the motion. Second.
Okay, and a second, we got one of the other will be the second. Any comments, questions, suggested changes?
I have a question.
Yes.
When we discussed the tax exemption for the disabled veterans, we did vote on it, and that's not reflected here. And I don't know if that's because it's way at the end. Sorry, I don't have it.
I'm waiting.
Item 14. Item 14, and I didn't know if that was because if it was under old business. I didn't know if it was intentional or not.
And did we actually vote?
We actually
We did
voted,
vote,
yes.
We did,
Actually
we put a
voted.
motion. All right, we'll have Brendan take a look at the tape.
Yeah.
And
Great.
and redo that. So would you prefer we table them until such time as that's included, or
Okay.
just have it
Just have it.
amended as appropriate?
Yes.
All right, anything else?
No, I mean, that.
Okay, hearing none, let me try your minds. All in favor? Sorry, we've got remote. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff.
I couldn't hear everything, but so we're not voting to table, we're voting to pass these
We're
with,
voting to approve as amended by what Brendan
okay, to make sure that
determines as a result of the vote.
it indicates that we did vote for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, yes, okay.
In the room? Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. All right, next up, Finance Department. Mary Jane. Good morning. How are you? 6.1, consider and take possible action to transfer $80,048. for reserve personnel.
Yep, so we have yet another contract that was completed in this year, from which we have budgeted funds in reserve for personnel. So you see before you the list of departments who are affected by this, and the total is 80,048. There is still money left in reserve for personnel, as you can see. That brings it down to 253.
Okay.
We still do have a couple of outstanding contracts,
Right.
and I will come forward as soon as they're completed.
President, I think we're have agreement on the police contract.
Correct. At least that. There are a couple others, so.
All right, is there a motion to approve the transfer as delineated by the memorandum?
So moved.
Sandy and Sue.
Yeah.
First and second, motion and second. Let me try your minds. Excuse me, any further comments or questions?
No.
Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
All right, 6.2. Consider and take possible action to transfer $1,197 from to fire department full-time salaries.
Yes, so this is follow-up to the presentation made by the fire department. These represent funds currently budgeted in replacement salaries, overtime, and part-time salaries that are being moved to full-time salaries as outlined during that presentation.
Got it. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a
I'll make a
motion, but I have, when we
Yeah.
get to
Then I'll
discussion.
second.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, Sandy, you're up.
So these, I remember the presentation, but I just want to be clear. These funds are not coming from the personnel reserve funds. These are coming from the reorganization within the department. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. My comment at the top was cut and paste.
Okay.
Under re.
Right,
so
that's all
correct.
right. You
It's
don't have.
It's
yeah.
it's an interdepartmental transfer, but the goal is so that when we hit the budget season next month, that we'll be looking at
Baseline is.
Okay.
more accurate
Yeah.
representation of the salary lines.
I just want, I pretty much got that. I just wanted to state it. So thank you.
Got it. All right, let me try your minds, Selectman Federici.
Sorry, aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
That motion carries. All right, 6.3, review and approve the report of expenditures for town government.
So we're gonna start with revenues.
Really?
Sure. We are exactly where we were this time last year, coincidentally 53.6. The only line item that I really just wanted to bring your attention to is, of course, the golf course. They were closed September, October, so that's what represents the decrease in their percentage brought in. We do have a claim with insurance to see if we can recoup some of that lost revenue, but at this point, this is where the numbers stand.
Is that claim for lost revenue or just for the recovering
Both.
the expenses?
Both.
Expenses both.
We've put in for both of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Helps be on the board of directors of Kermit. They at least consider.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, it's at least under consideration, so we'll see. Yeah. But of course, the golf course, as they reported during the budget presentations, they did give back their funding for capital items, so that there would be an offset,
Yes.
so to speak, for the additional expense and the lost revenue. So we will take that into consideration if and when the money comes back in.
Okay. Anything else on revenue?
Okay, on the expenditure side, 36.5% expended through October 31st. Just a couple things, just wanted to note under registrar of voters, the first week of early voting is represented in that number. Steve actually gave me a whole list. Salary alone for early voting and the election day was $17,500. But the bulk of it will be represented next month. But so that is that. On
Mary
the fire-
Jane, Mary Jane,
Yes.
when you get the final figures, it would be interesting to know what we spent for the last I guess, municipal against municipal election when there wasn't early voting, so that we can, you know, out of that, what did we used to spend 5,000 and now we're spending 17,000? You know, you see what I mean? What's
Yep.
okay? Thank you.
And at the same
Certainly.
time, I'd be interested in the total votes, sort of, you know, dollars per vote, interestingly.
Hours.
Like, did we have more people voting
Dollars
as
to
a
vote,
result of
so,
early voting?
Yeah.
And I think this has to come from the state level, if I'm correct, through the Secretary of State's office. But I heard people saying that they might reduce the number of not reduce or not take away early voting, but not have it maybe as I forget, was it 10 days? I forget, and make it fewer days.
It is a topic of conversation between the Secretary of State's office, the ROVAC group, the registrars of voters, the group, legislators and elected officials. The challenge becomes it is significantly more important to have longer timeframes for the larger municipalities.
Okay.
The smaller communities where there, some, had 200 people show up, or, we had over 2,000. There's a set of statistics that I've asked for, and that is statewide. What is the percent of people who voted absentee versus the total that voted? All right. So we had 7,500 votes. So it's
Early voting, you mean, Matt, not just absentee, early voting?
What's that?
All early voting.
Right, you said
Okay.
absentee, but absentee.
Absentees have dropped precipitously since early voting is available now.
Right.
Because that process of, mailing it in, getting it back, et cetera, it's as time consuming as showing up at town hall and voting.
Right.
So, but that's a number that I've asked, our state representatives to get, because there's a big push, particularly along the smaller communities, to narrow it to 7 days. But we'll see.
We can work on that. Lou and Sandy, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on expenditures?
Well, yes.
All right.
So as usual, I like to discuss, the fire department. They do have, large maintenance for vehicle. Their hook and ladder truck is currently away. We have some necessary work that was done on it already, which is inclusive of these numbers. And we have some additional work that needs to get done. So that was unanticipated. Just like to say, vehicle maintenance without the outstanding purchase orders is only at 27%. So that's a better number. And overall, without purchase orders, they're at 35% overall, and we're 33% through the year. Because I know that the fire department is trying to make strides to stay within their budget this year. So I just want to say that. And the other item is communications. Again, under the fire department, they are 47% expended, but that's due to their annual service contracts that went out at the beginning of the year. And the last item is debt retirement, which is overdrawn by $225,000. Those represent the premium credits that we budget. So after the first of the year, when we're done with all of our debt payments, we will make that whole.
We've had some discussions about rolling communications into the fire department. What's your?
Not based on the budgets would remain the same. The difference is that it will be
Just
the
reporting.
reporting. At this point,
Yep.
yes, at this time anyway.
Got it. Okay. I don't think anybody's interested in the warrants, but if you are,
I'm gonna get you to bring them
you gave to me for tonight's meeting.
in.
Medical report.
Okay, so medical, for October, you'll see the claims is at about $960,000. It's because we received 269,000 of those prescription reimbursements, that I've been talking about the last couple of years we were expecting. So, down below, I still have 765,000 that we had budgeted for. So we're hoping to continue to get those in. So that really, helped our numbers there. On catastrophic claims, we're at $1.2 million over the halfway point of 87.5 and 167,000 covered by the insurance, our covered members is actually up 3 members, and just in the month of October, we went from 5 to 8 that have hit that 87.5 point, remaining at 3 for the ones that hit the ISL. Overall, at the moment. Oh, somebody have a question? Sorry, I thought I heard a question, but background noise, sorry. Showing a projected surplus of 787,000, which is more in line to where we've been the last few years. Obviously, as we go through the year, that kind of depletes as people pay their deductibles and the town covers, but I'm happy to see such a large positive number there. Still only, not quite a whole month. But when you add back in the stop loss, that does put us over the month. So we're in the right direction this year as we had hoped and anticipated.
Got it. Questions? No. Good.
Thank you.
Seven, John, economic development. Come on.
Just briefly, some events coming up. 11/19, which is this coming Wednesday, we have a shop and stroll event with 20 of the green area merchants signed up to be open. It's 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. December 5th, we have the tree lighting, and December 11th is girls' night out. So guys, beware, the girls will be shot.
Excellent. Thanks, Jim.
And just one other comment, Matt, about the presentation on the statue. I know we have a lot of artists in town coming off the Arts Trail this weekend. But there's an artist in Branford, Mark Massaro, who I shared the information with that committee, who designed and produced the bronze statue that went into the Worcester Square Park. He runs the Branford Art Studio, so I did share that. Yep.
John, I actually have a question about one of the points that they raised in terms of it creating economic activity. Is there any data behind that?
Hey, that's a hard one, Lou. I can see what I can find about the Worcester Square statue, because
Yeah.
that did pull a lot of people back to the square.
Interesting. I mean, I know I can certainly see the curiosity at the beginning, but over time, like, year, 2 year, 5 years, I think this thing is important and it was great, but I just, I'd like to make sure before we all reach a final decision, we understand some of the arguments with some further backup. That's all.
Yeah, I would just comment that I think location is obviously key on many fronts, but certainly a location that's visible and prompts people to possibly research further that history of Native people would be important. So I think it has some longevity, personally.
Yeah. I'm intrigued at the library or Lathrop House.
Yeah. All right, thank you, John. Item 8, consider take possible action on award of bid 6526 fuel to East River. Actually, you don't have to take any action because you guys already authorized me to do so, but just want to kind of came in it.
Good morning. Morning. So we went out to bid on 11/4 for fuel for the town and the Board of Ed. Oil, heating oil, unleaded, and diesel. And we had 2 bidders, as you'll see on the bid summary sheet. One was East River, who happily bid on everything, and the second bidder, who was Global Partners, only bid on the differential for I think it was unleaded.
It's a price lock in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Differential you have to pay exercise that locking.
yeah, and it's based on whatever the current market rate is out of New Haven. So East River was definitely much more favorable for us this go around. And so we continue with them. And I did a quick little cost analysis, and based on the numbers between this year and last year, it looks like we'll probably see about a $20,000 savings for fuel. Overall, we're gonna have a little bit of an increase with the heating oil because we have now taken on the Lathrop House. And 11,000 each savings for between unleaded and diesel. We also, part of the unleaded is due to the hybrid vehicles that we've gotten from the police department. They, you remember, like a year or two ago, they got, I think, 7 or 8 new vehicles that were hybrid. So we're gonna finally see that, because what I do is I take a 3-year estimate, of the fuel usage. So you don't see the changes right away. So it comes down a little bit or goes up a little bit depending on what it is.
Just a quick
That is
question. I think
great.
that $20,000 savings, is that just for the town, or does that include the town and the board of
That
ed?
is just, I just did numbers on the town. I don't know,
So the board of ed should be seeing a reduction as well.
I would think so, yeah.
Right off the bat, not paying oil and Lathrop House anymore,
Yeah. Yes.
in addition to the price.
Yeah, that's a push, right? I mean, they were
Yeah, that's a
paying
push.
for
Yeah.
it. It was in their budget before. And frankly, was there any, with the various renovations, Matt, I just don't remember, was there any windows, insulation, were there any improvements like that took place at the house?
No, I think,
I don't think so,
from our, capital budget presentation last week, Steve and Todd mentioned that there will be phase 2. And
Okay.
potentially phase 3 of renovations on that facility. We were, primarily interested in getting it, quite
Functional.
honestly, cleaned up, electric up to code, and
Yeah.
fire alarms and largely cleaning because it needed it. Let's put it that way.
Got it, understood. So there
And I
may be
think
savings
they
down the
are
line,
planning on maybe converting to gas.
Yeah,
Did
they
you mention that?
eventually we would like to convert to gas,
which would typically be a savings.
Yes.
usually.
Yes, usually, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a good day.
All right, item 9, appointments and resignations. I'm going to make a motion that we add 9.5, and that would be to appoint Cindy Preble to the Guilford Housing Authority.
We have that in the charter that we,
Yeah.
but the fact that it was brought up
Brought up,
before,
exactly.
great. Okay, good.
So is there a motion to add it? Can we actually vote on it today? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can.
So,
Yeah.
motion to add it.
Second?
Second to add it.
Great. So that's 9 out of 5. All right. Oh, wait, second. I didn't call for a vote. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Thank you. We assumed everybody's going that way, but might as well do it.
Right.
All right, 9.1, discuss and take action to accept the resignation of Elias Kaveci from the Zoning Board of Appeals. Is there a motion?
So
With motion and congratulations for the reason of the resignation.
Resignation,
Yes.
you're right.
Right.
And a second.
Elected
Good.
to the Board of Finance, so,
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
That motion carries. Item 9.2, discuss and take action to accept the resignation of Amanda Pierce from the Harbor Management Commission. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yeah,
Second.
I'll second it.
Second. All right, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
The motion carries. 9.3, discuss and take action, to accept the resignation of Sarah Porf from the Conservation Commission. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Right, there's a
I'll
motion and a
second. I'll
second.
second
There
it.
we go. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. 9.4, discuss and take action to accept the resignation of Colleen Otis from the Guilford Housing Authority. Is there a motion?
So moved.
With
Second.
appreciation and regret. And a second. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Yes, it's an aye, but I believe the way that Guilford Housing Authority Board is set up, it has, one of the 5 members has to be a resident of the properties. And so just in going forward, we have to check to make sure that, I think she was the resident.
That's a good point.
She was the resident representative, which is, I believe, in their commission charter.
She's not the resident.
She's
Yeah.
not the resident.
No.
Okay, all right, well then, sorry. for taking up that
Oh,
time.
good point. Thanks for keeping us honest.
Yeah, good detail.
Pretty sure it wasn't. Okay, did we vote it? No, we gotta vote.
No,
Selectman
Aye.
Federici?
Aye.
Selectman Ruoff is an aye. Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye. 9.5, as a result of the recent resignation, there's a vacancy on the Housing Authority. And is there a motion to appoint Cindy Preble to
I'd
fill
like-
the vacancy?
I'd like to make that motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Second, that's good. Let me try your minds.
I
Selectman Federici?
I have a question, okay?
Yeah.
A comment. I'm voting aye. I will be voting aye, but in all those emails that went back and forth, people got the names mixed up. They were getting the official names of the two organizations that she was.
Right, and that
connected with.
was my mistake.
But it was
So-
also, it was not just your mistake. It was in, it was in everybody's emails. So I just want to be sure that it's the Guilford Housing Authority and the word commission is not in that. And the second
No,
one
it
is
it is the Guilford Housing Authority.
right. And then the other organization is the Affordable Housing Commission. And
Commission,
I just- which is
which
what
Cindy
she's
Preble's
going
resigned
to
from.
leave, right? She's going to leave the Affordable Housing.
We have that
Resignation.
resignation.
Right. And then we are voting now to appoint her to the GHA, the Guilford Housing Authority.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason this is taking so much time is that there is a prohibition against any member of the Guilford Housing Authority serving on any other board or commission.
Right.
So that's
Right.
the process. So, all right, so let's do the vote. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Rohr?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 10, request for use of town property. 10.1, discuss and take action to approve a sign on the green. Request to advertise Starship Dance Theater's performances at following the tree lighting on December 5th, I think. Sign placed on November 21, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room? Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. 10.2, discuss and take action to approve the use of the green request for Guilford Conservation Commission's Earth Day on the Green, April 26, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Aye.
Try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. 10.3, discuss and take action to approve the use of the green request for the Shabbat of the Shoreline Public Menorah Lighting and Ice Carving. Is there a motion?
I'll
So
make the
moved.
motion.
Second, here we go. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. 10.4, discuss and take action to approve an unattended display on the green request for the Shabbat of the Shoreline Menorah. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Second.
Second. There was a conversation that took place last week between the police chief and the rabbi about the exact location. As some of you may recall, there was an incident, vandalism incident over on that side. And there was some thought to moving it closer to where the holiday tree is going to be. So I'm not sure if that has been finalized yet. And that was a discussion between the two. And part of that was related to the location being more readily surveilled. Let's put it that way. So,
We did have a discussion about other exhibits last year near the holiday tree, which we did not allow the nativity scene. So,
right.
And we identified within the, I don't know if we got the right geographical wording here, but we sort of said there was a certain perimeter around the tree that was just going to be this, Christmas tree.
They wanted it inside the fence that closes the tree.
Right. So I understand why they might want to move it, but I want to be careful we don't move it to where we wouldn't move the other one or something. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. 10.5, discuss and take action to approve a sign on the green request for the Shabbat of the Shorelines Public Menorah. Wait a second.
Yeah, this is the sign.
This is a sign. Got it. Yep. For the public menorah and lighting and ice carving. The sign placement date November 30th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye as well. That motion carries. 10.6, discuss and take action on to approve a use of the green request for the Shoreline Jewish Festival, August 2nd, 2026. Is there a motion?
I'll make
So
the
moved.
motion.
Or
And there's a
second.
motion and a second. We got it. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Motion carries. 10.7, to follow on the previous one, placement of the sign, the request for the Shoreline Jewish Festival placement July 19th, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And let me try your minds, right? Selectman Federici,
Aye, and commendation to the admin there for getting all these things organized and filed so well.
you've got it. And Selectman Rua,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. All right. Committee reports. Sandy, anything?
No, nothing, at the moment. The Affordable Housing Commission meeting is, tomorrow. And I think we would have some follow-up from that report that I did talk about from Mike Harkins, last 2 weeks ago. So nothing at the moment.
Got it. Anything else? No other committees, I don't think, right? Well, we might have one coming up.
That's right. That's right.
We might have a new one coming up. All right, correspondence, 12.1, correspondence regarding the safety zone property. Any comments or questions? I looked at it briefly the other day. Nice concept.
Yeah.
Price tag, last I heard was still about $12 million. But something that could be explored, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't see that. Is it public
It's in
knowledge?
the packet.
It's in the packet.
It's in the packet. Yeah.
All right.
It's a suggestion the town should acquire the safety zone property for to build mixed-use recreational complex, largely around sporting activities. So
Good opportunity for someone to do that privately.
Private.
But I
Yes.
think we can't let it jeopardize our other things that we have going. on.
Yeah, we've got a
Right.
couple other projects. on
Yeah.
it.
Right.
So.
But and that kind of a thing wouldn't that aquifer
No,
consideration?
that would not be a use that would be prohibited.
Okay. I agree with Susan. I think that would be a nice addition to the town, but not something that we're able to take on right now
Got it.
with the other projects that are demonstrably needed. So
All right. Old business. New business. Public forum. Hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. We try your minds. All in favor?
Aye.
Matt,
Great
I kept zooming in and out there. We did receive a piece of correspondence from Deb DeMusis, actually. I thought I saw it cross
That's
through.
right.
Oh, yes.
Last night. Yes, you're right.
Right.
I just want to acknowledge that we received that.
Yeah.
And I did have a question, because obviously that piece of legislation regarding the housing has gone up and down to the legislature and back out. I'd be very interested to get a little bit of a presentation, either from planning and zoning or one of our land use officials, as to the immediate, like short and medium term impacts of that, if that's not too much trouble.
Well, that would most likely fall on me and our state delegation, because that bill has passed. That
Right.
passed last week, 8002, and I was hoping to have a conversation with Deb afterwards. This contention that this was not a bipartisan effort couldn't be farther from the truth. It was not bipartisan at the legislature. But the Council of Small Towns, which we are a member of, CCM, which we are a member of, both endorsed the legislation as written, because it's a much better pathway than what had been approved and then vetoed by the governor. It includes some provisions that ameliorate some of the concerns that I specifically had. I had my two primary ones were the targets, the targets that were arrived at through faulty means. We were to have created 475 units of affordable housing within a certain period of time, regardless of the infrastructure requirements to do so. We don't have sewers. And so that portion of the bill was widely acknowledged as being flawed, and that's out. The big piece is that every community will be responsible for a housing plan like we are today, but this is a new one that talks about goals and targets and so forth. The municipality can opt into participating in a council of governments region-wide. So it's more effective to look at the region at large to determine those needs, right? And move forward. The other substantive problem that I had was the elimination of the ability to require on-site parking for up to 24 units in a development, right? What got passed was that is now dropped to up to 18 units, okay? However, every municipality will have the ability to designate up to 8% of their land mass where that doesn't apply. So my biggest concern was I know if you look around town, there are 2 or 3 or 4 parcels within walking distance of the green, and some of them on the streets that abut the green, that could produce anywhere from 6 to 8 units on each one of those properties. If you were, let's just say there were 6 on 3 properties, that's 18, 2 bedrooms per, that's 36. That's 36 cars. We don't have enough room for the cars downtown today. So there is joking, the CCM, and I raised this both at CCM, I raised it specifically with the governor. And I was teased last week at a press conference, or a week and a half ago, that that was the HOI provision in the bill, that the governor's office was referring it to as HOI's provision. So
you preserve, let me understand that. So the new legislation preserves the town's opportunity to require parking,
but
on up to 8% of our.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or up to 8 or 18 units of housing. Because that provision only allows once you get beyond 18, the law says you got to provide, local zoning will prevail in terms of minimum parking.
So this is exactly the kind of information I think that's amazing. I still think it would be great as the details of this fold into our administrative responsibility, that we get some presentation at some point from the people who have to implement it. That's all. I'm just
I think that's a good idea.
pointing out it's useful to get to me, what's very helpful are objections to things, and understand what those objections are, and then what the response to those objections will be from our government. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, and which you've already addressed to a certain extent.
Yeah. And quite honestly, that's educational exercise for those members that you just those staffers that you just talked about. Some of this is gonna have to be included in our zoning code. So
yeah, good, amazing, thank you.
All right.
And not to beat a dead horse about the AHC versus the GHA, that the mixing up of the names did not start with you. It started with the applicant. It started with people responding to the applicant, and then where you got in. And it's nobody's fault. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I just wanted to be sure that she knew which one she was resigning from and which one she wanted to join, and that we knew it. So that's all.
She knows.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But I was reading them very carefully.
I just perpetuated the mistake.
No, you were just at the end of it. And I was going to get into
right.
it, and I thought I'm not going to get into it through email. I'll just wait until
Right.
I could be 1,000 miles away and complain about it. But anyway.
And I think I think we're all in agreement that the email chain thing is just
Is-
not productive for
No,
anybody.
I
Absolutely.
totally
Yeah.
agree.
Absolutely.
with
That's why.
that.
Not proper.
What I said, what I said. It was-
Perfect.
And that was two responses too late.
Well,
All right.
okay. All right, well, I'm gonna.
Thank you all.
Goodbye now.
Yep, you got it. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have we already voted to conclude?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Thanks, Ben.